her spine cracked, her eardrum punctured, teeth smashed, body burned with cigarettes. Electrical cables whipped across her back, wires attached to her breasts, delivering shocks. Immersed in freezing water, then scalded with boiling water on the most sensitive parts of her body, hung upside down by her feet. This isn't a medieval dungeon. This is a documented case from a women's prison in Iran, presented to an International Human Rights Commission. The commission concluded these abuses were systematic, carried out by and on behalf of the government. In just 10 days during September 2025, 3 women died inside Qarchak, all 3 linked to denied medical care. 17 kilometers south of Tehran, near the town of Varaman, sits a compound that began its life as a poultry farm. Today it is called Qarchak Women's Prison. The buildings were never designed for human beings. They were livestock warehouses with open sewage trenches and water sources contaminated to the point that prisoners described drinking from them as a daily gamble. The original capacity was set below 500 inmates, yet the facility routinely holds more than 1,200 women, and observers have documented surges reaching 2,000 to 3,000 detainees crammed into the same converted sheds. The UN Nelson Mandela rules require strict separation between categories of prisoners. But inside Qarchak, women jailed for political dissent share floor space with violent offenders. Teenage girls as young as 14 sleep beside adults convicted of murder. The architecture itself was built for chickens, and the rulebook is written for chaos. The case file delivered to the International Commission read less like a prison report and more like a confession from another century. The woman's spine had been cracked. Her left eardrum had ruptured under blunt force. Her teeth were broken. Cigarettes had been pressed into her skin, leaving circular burns across her torso. Electrical cables had been used to whip her back, but the cables were also wired to her breasts to deliver current. Her interrogators alternated extremes, plunging her into freezing water, then pouring boiling water onto the most sensitive parts of her body. She was suspended upside down by her feet for hours. The commission did not describe these acts as the excesses of rogue guards. It concluded they were systemic and systematic, carried out by and on behalf of the Iranian state. The pattern extends beyond physical torture into something quieter and equally lethal. The 2018 U.S. State Department report identified denial or delay of medical care as a deliberate instrument of coercion inside Iran's prison system. Inmates with cancer, heart conditions, and untreated infections have been refused transport to hospitals until their conditions became terminal. Guards have been documented withholding insulin from diabetic prisoners and antibiotics from women with sepsis. Somaya Rashidi died on September 25, 2025. Sudabeh Asadi died on September 16th. Farzaneh Bijanipur had died earlier that same year, on January 11th. 3 names, 3 preventable deaths. One facility designed for chickens. Roughly 850 kilometers southwest of Tehran, in the oil-rich city of Avaz, stands a second facility that mirrors Qarchak's logic of compression. Sepidar Women's Prison holds approximately 400 women, and a striking proportion of them belong to the ethnic Arab minority of Khuzestan province. The wards inside Sepidar were drawn up to accommodate 20 to 22 prisoners each. In practice, guards push up to 40 women into the same space, double the intended density. Beds run out within hours of intake, so newly arrived detainees sleep directly on concrete floors, sometimes for months. Former inmates describe rations that are, in their words, barely enough to stay alive. Bread that arrives stale. Protein that arrives rarely. Water that runs brown. But Sepidar is not simply a story of scarcity. The ethnic composition of the inmate population reveals a deliberate pattern. Arab women from Khuzestan, Kurdish women from the northwest, Baluchi women from the southeast, minorities arrested during protests or accused of separatist sympathies, are funneled into the worst wards and assigned the longest sentences. International monitors have documented that ethnic minority prisoners receive harsher disciplinary measures and less access to legal counsel than ethnic Persian inmates held for comparable charges. They are also denied family visits at rates 3 times higher than other detainees. The geography of cruelty is national, not local. Qarchak and Sepidar are 2 coordinates on a map of facilities operating under the same instructions. In January 2025, a 71-year-old woman boarded a plane in Tehran and landed in Germany. Her name is Nahid Tagavi. She is a German-Iranian women's rights activist who had been arrested in October 2020 and spent more than 4 years inside Evin Prison, the notorious facility in northern Tehran. Her release came only after sustained pressure from Berlin and intervention by senior German diplomats. Tagavi is not an exception. She is a case study. As of mid-2025, European rights organizations counted at least 23 dual nationals and foreign citizens detained across Iran's prison system. Several are German. Others hold French, Swedish, British, and Austrian passports. Many are held inside Evin and Qarchak. The German Foreign Office now issues an explicit travel warning, stating that German citizens with Iranian roots face particularly high risk of arbitrary arrest and lengthy prison sentences if they enter the country. The warning is not theoretical. The arrests follow a predictable rhythm tied to diplomatic calendars. When nuclear negotiations stall, when European sanctions tighten, when energy talks fracture, new detentions appear. Arrests have spiked noticeably during summit weeks in Vienna and Brussels. The 2024 UN Special Procedures Statement formally warned that denial of medical care to detainees at Qarchak may amount to torture and inhuman treatment under international law. Foreign passport holders are not exempt from those conditions. They are leverage. Each prisoner becomes a negotiating chip held against Berlin, Brussels, and Washington, an instrument of foreign policy with a beating heart. In 2024, the UN fact-finding mission on Iran issued a conclusion that legal scholars had been building toward for years. The abuses documented inside Qarchak, Evin, and Sepidar amount to crimes against humanity. The specific charges named in the report are murder, torture, rape, and sexual violence committed as part of a widespread and systematic attack against civilians. That phrase carries the same legal weight applied at Nuremberg and at the tribunals for the former Yugoslavia and Rwanda. German and Swiss public broadcasters have since drawn direct comparisons to Nazi-era detention camps and Soviet gulags. Legal scholars in Germany and Austria now argue that universal jurisdiction could permit European prosecutors to file charges against visiting Iranian officials. Preliminary legal briefs have already been drafted in Berlin and The Hague, outlining potential indictments. These prisons are being archived in real time as potential 21st century memorial sites, evidence preserved for trials that may still come. The documentation does not stop. Every UN report, every leaked photograph, every smuggled testimony from inside Qarchak adds another line to a record that international courts may one day read aloud. The women who died in September 2025 cannot be brought back, but the facility that killed them no longer operates in complete darkness. Every view, every share, every comment on investigations like this one amplifies the voices of women still inside those converted poultry sheds tonight. 3 deaths in 10 days. The question is whether the world keeps counting or whether it finally stops the count.